Welcome to the useless space shuttle. Please take a seat while I give your safety measures for our useless trip to the sun. We will be traveling 94 million miles in less than 2 minutes. The temperature will be a pleasant 5700 Kelvin, where upon arrival at the sun's surface, we will release our payload of trillions of useless tokens, proving that space travel is the most effective way to burn a shitload of money. The total duration of our flight today is around 30 minutes. On behalf of our useless flight crew, thank you for joining us. We know you have choices when it comes to useless billionaire space travel, and we thank you for choosing our useless wheelbarrow. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight to the sun.
All right, welcome. I am David Wiley, also known as Kark or False Flag. I mean, I go by a lot of names actually nowadays, but we're here for the Sunday Sunburn for Useless. So thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. So I've got some pretty cool information for you. First things first, though, true to our name, we're going to do the 1.5 trillion manual burn today. So what we're doing, just to provide some context. So one of Useless's shtick is that we take external revenue and then we use it to inject it back into the token, which is pretty cool, right? Not a lot of tokens do that. Most of the buybacks are internal, using sell mechanisms throughout the lifespan of the token, and then use that for buyback. That's all internal from their liquidity pool. What we're doing is we're building real value by building apps and DApps that generate revenue, and then we inject that back into the token for buyback, which is, instead of just like recycling money to your bank account, it's like actually getting paid. So until that ecosystem is up and running, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about our status of that ecosystem, then what we do is manual burns in the meantime, just because it's fun and it's part of our shtick is buyback and burn. So anyway, I'm going to check the status of our transactions. It's a corporate safe. Let me go to the community safe. All right, so we already have 3 out of 4 multi-signature transactions queued up. So for those of you who aren't familiar with how this works, we have a multi-signature wallet as the contract owner. What that means is that 4 out of 6 corporate directors need to be able to interact with the contract, to do any transactions from it. You have to get, again, 4 out of 6 signatures. So we got 3 already. I'm going to confirm this. And then if you guys could just look at the blockchain to make sure that this goes through. Signing now. 1.5 trillion. You guys can do the math on what that value actually is in terms of the price of tokens we are burning. It should be around $15,000, which isn't bad. Okay, let's check the blockchain. Looks like it went through. Burn address. Not yet. Let me refresh, see if I need to execute something else. Okay, I'm not seeing it yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep on going. I'm going to check back to make sure that transfer has gone through. But we signed that in our multi-sig to go to 0000 dead, 1.5 trillion. So the Gnosis multi-sig for Binance is actually a little bugged right now because they're moving to a new multi-sig thing here by the end of the month. And so sometimes their UI is a little laggy and slow as people are migrating over. All right, so I'll check back on that. Again, just check the blockchain, see when that burn comes in. So a couple updates for you. So status on Probit. Everything was signed weeks ago. So, for those of you not in the know, we raised $25,000 to get listed on Probit. We sent them test tokens. They waited a week and they didn't really do anything. We pushed them, we prodded them, and they just had us scheduled and they wouldn't budge to do testing this week. So they're doing testing this week. So I don't want to promise when Probit's going to be listed. They're just taking their sweet time. They're slow. So not much we can do, but it's coming. It's happening. It's just a longer process than we would have hoped. Another update is the furnace. That's the part that does our auto liquidity. How it works is if it detects the health of our liquidity pool, and if liquidity is under 10%, it does liquidity building operations. If liquidity is between 10 and 15%, it does liquidity neutral buyback, something we call reverse swap and liquefy. And if it does more than 15%, if it has more than 50% liquidity, then it does pure buyback and burn, which drains liquidity quickly, but has the best price action. So that furnace, which does that auto liquidity operations, what you do is you just fuel the furnace with BNB. You just throw BNB into it from external sources from our revenue streams, and then it will then perform those liquidity operations. And that's really, really freaking cool. We are the first, once this is out, we are the first LP stable token in existence, which is really cool. And we feel very innovative in the space of DeFi. And that was with a lot of help from SafeMoon Mark in getting that set up, who is our chief blockchain officer. Super cool guy. Some of you may know him, and working with him, he's absolutely brilliant. And so getting all these pieces up and running as quickly as he has is really impressive. So we have the furnace contract 100% complete. And then we have another contract called the swapper, which is just an alternative purchasing mechanism, which is excluded from taxation. And it fuels the furnace with 8% BNB from every transaction. So it's the same price. You don't see it from transparent. It's pretty transparent from beyond the hood. You don't see anything, or it doesn't feel any different from just using the regular swapper payment where you send BNB to the swapper contract. By the way, don't ever send BNB to the actual contract. People, stop doing that, please. That's bad. There's been a lot of people that have so far over 20 BNB had been sent to the actual token contract. Stop it. We were able to, because we haven't renounced ownership and we have a function that can withdraw BNB from the token contract, we were able to recover that and send it back to people. So hopefully that is a sign of good faith on our part. But please, it's a lot of work to recover that. So please stop sending BNB to the contract. But anyway, so yeah, the swapper contract and the furnace contract, 100% done. We're just now testing. So I would expect that definitely to be up this week, probably early this week, for you guys to play with and use. Then the other remaining pieces of the DApp ecosystem would be the bypass mechanism for Tokenomics bypass. So instead of paying 8% to send it to another wallet, you pay 2% BNB surcharge. That's a lot cheaper if you want to move to Ledger or to do arbitrage to exchanges, things like that. And that is, I'd say 95% built. I think it's 100% built. That needs to go through testing as well. It is set up in a way so that we could use it with any token that wants to list with it. So they contact us and then they pay us or what we negotiate on a fee. So for example, like if SafeMoon came to us and they're like, yeah, we want to use your Tokenomics bypass DApp. They would whitelist the DApp, they would whitelist a smart contract from taxation. And then they would tell us what amount of BNB they want to receive from those transactions. So instead of a 10% tax, maybe they do like a 4% or 5% BNB surcharge. And then we take a cut of that. And so that's set up to work with every token who wants to bypass with us. We now have a working revenue stream from DApps to then funnel money directly and shovel that into the furnace, which is super cool. So anyway, yeah, I just want to give you an update on that. This week, we should start shoveling money into the furnace, and you should start seeing liquidity being injected and buybacks happening in Useless, which is very, very exciting. That should have, again, not financial advice. I don't want to comment on price action, but the math doesn't lie. It will have a positive effect on price. So next up, I want to hand the time over to Lance for a minute to talk about our app development.
Hey, guys. Yeah, so some pretty cool stuff's happening. I need to give a huge shout out to Amir 5000. He's in the leadership Discord, basically one of our top front end app developers. Really rocking it right now. I just want to set some expectations. Like, we're working really hard on this app, and software development is always more difficult than you can imagine. Like, there's always things that come up. But we're making great progress. I'm super happy with the progress. I just want to set the expectations that we're trying to get this out to the leadership as soon as possible. I want to move quickly. I want to move fast. I just want to get this in the hands of people. So that way we can get feedback from people and make the app better. But I'm really happy with the progress so far. So we started out with getting a list of tokens and having them just chart with CoinGecko API data, which wasn't ideal, but it was something to just get started with. We've been slowly making that transition away from the CoinGecko API data towards using actual data from the blockchain. So really exciting stuff that's been happening. Amir and I have been working really hard on this data and trying to make the app better. We've got the internal build into the leadership Discord, and we're going to start getting feedback. With that being said, I've also been working on setting up the Apple development account so we can actually get this published in test flight and get it out to a closed beta amount of people that'll be giving us feedback. And then ultimately I want to get it in hand of anybody who wants access to it, and we'll get that accessible. Some of the other things that we're doing is we're adding the whale watching. We changed a little bit of how the whale watching works, and that's going to be an important feature. The other thing that I'm currently working on is getting the Surge token to be chartable and graphed within the Useless app, which I think is going to be huge. A lot of people have asked for it, and I think that's going to be one of the huge benefits for the community. As far as the development goes, as timeline, I'm not going to give any specific numbers, but I think we're following our milestones and we're hitting those, and I'm really happy about it. I think that's probably all I'm going to report on today, but we're making great progress.
Great, thank you. Another thing that I want to announce, it's no secret that Mark, as our chief blockchain officer, has a host of side projects that he works on. He actually works for SafeMoon as well, and so one of the side projects that he recently started is something called Surge. And from Useless perspective, we're keeping a very strict separation between leadership of Useless and leadership of Surge. On Surge, there it's all homegrown on Mark's front, and so it's really exciting though, because it's definitely a mutually beneficial symbiotic type relationship. One of the things that we want to incorporate is, if you haven't heard about Surge, it's not like a typical token. It's more of a slower yield type financial instrument, which is really cool and really fascinating. And it kind of came a brainchild of, Mark and I talking and, working throughout the day on trying to, obviously Mark takes all the credit for it, but it was definitely fun to be part of the process of Surge being built and all that. And so one of the mutually beneficial things about Surge is that we could use it in a liquidity pool for Useless, which is really cool. So on Wednesday, Surge is launching something called Xsurge, which is a tax exempt. Actually, I think it has a really tiny tax. I think it's like 0.1%, but essentially tax exempt version of Surge that we could use in our liquidity pool, and that price action will increase over time. And so by taking 10, 15, 20, maybe 30%, we'll test and see how this goes, worth of Surge and putting that into our liquidity pool, we could gain some of the benefits of the positive and stable price action of Surge in our liquidity pool, be the first token to do that, which is really heckin' cool. Another way that Surge can be beneficial to the Useless community is that we could be the first mobile app to create a chart for it. And so we've already put some time, energy, and effort into building out some of the charting functionality in the Useless charting app for Surge. And any type of Surge type tokens that come afterwards will be on the cutting edge of that, because we have ties, we have connections and a partnership, I'd say, with Surge. And so being the first to market on that, I think is a huge boon and benefit to us. Another thing to announce is Useless University. We have our first inaugural video. So huge shout out to Jackie for putting that together. A lot of time, energy, and effort put into that. So go check that out. If anyone has a link, can you please post that into the Twitch channel? Give it a shout out, give it a check out, and more stuff coming down the pipe for Useless University, especially for people who are newer to crypto. So something you can share with your friends and family.
Hey, just to give a shout out, the burn address has just gone through, so we are officially burned.
Okay, 1.5 trillion tokens burned. Thank you. Next up are winners. Let me pull up that list here. All right, Meme King. The winner is Haynes 827. And you have a graphic up for that, Neil? Okay. The next up, so congratulations, Haynes, for Meme King. Well earned. Thank you for putting time and attention to that. And the next is Shill King, Crypto Parlante. Is that how I pronounce it? Parlant? I don't know. Words are hard. So thank you, Crypto P, because I just feel like I'm just butchering that name, for all your time and helping to show Useless and getting the word out there about what we're doing. That the only thing useless about us is our name. We're really trying to do some cool, innovative things in the space of DeFi, with our being the first auto liquidity token, and shoveling all of our DApp and app revenue back into buyback and burn, which is pretty cool. Finally, just want to thank all of you as the community for putting your faith and trust into us. We are working really hard around the clock to bring value by building cool apps, building cool DApps, things that help innovate the DeFi space. It is my ethos to be open and transparent and honest in everything that we do. So like I said, if you're tuning in for the first time, we have a Useless Crypto LLC. It's registered in Utah. Our corporate directors are all doxed, right? Our whole goal here is to lead by example and to be a good face that people can look to and say, these guys are doing it right. They're really putting their best foot forward to try to make this Wild West experience just a little bit better. And so, again, thank you for being part of the community, for tuning in, for believing in us. And we're trying to peel back the curtain as much as possible to show you where we are in our development process every step of the way. We don't like to hype things up until we have them. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a good rest of your week. I'm going to be popping into the Discord to answer some questions. I wasn't able to do that last week. I wasn't feeling well. So if you have any questions, just feel free, pop in the Discord. Let's talk. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
We've been given useful advice. Go to college, get a job, take out a student loan. You'll be able to pay it off. We've been told to work harder. Your major was useless. Buy a house, go to grad school, save your money. They've told us their way is the only way. Anyone can make money. Invest your money in the stock market. And they've told us our way is useless. Bitcoin's a joke. You'll never get rich that way. Nobody will ever take you seriously. Cryptocurrency will never last. Even though everyone can see their useful advice doesn't work anymore.
Spin. The economic crisis is set to become one of the world's worst financial crises since the 1850s.
But Inflation Nation is still a major concern for CFOs.
Americans owed over $1 trillion in student debt.
Showing record-breaking home prices. A group of independent investors in a Reddit group called Wall Street Bets.
President Nayib Bukele announcing he will propose a bill to the country's Congress this week.
On projections about where Bitcoin goes, including $100,000.
Fame is that he went all in on a meme-based cryptocurrency called Dogecoin. And in 69 days, he went from a struggling music producer to a millionaire.
The answer is safe mode. Big congratulations to Useless. I'm very happy with it.
So I just have one question for you. Who's useless now?